At Inxiweni Primary School in Tembisa, usually around this time of the year, teachers prepare for their year-end meetups and to let loose after the exam period ends. But this week, they are preparing to bury two of their own, including their school principal, after they were brutally shot and killed inside the school on Tuesday. The gunmen didn't steal anything. They just shot the two women and fled. This is the sad story of Inxiweni Primary School teacher Nozibele Tabu and the school's admin assistant Nobantu Njombini. Welcome to True Crime Julia. On this channel, we cover true crime cases that have happened in South Africa. Today's story is very new. It broke on Tuesday, and the story is very heartbreaking. Two women left home for work, and just before knock of time, their family was called in to come and identify their bodies. They never made it back home. The story is currently based on allegations. We have relied on news reports, social media accounts, and a statement by the Department of Education. So let us get into it. Before Principal Tabu took over, Inxiweni Primary School was not what it is now. There was not too much hope for the learners, but she changed things around. Everyone on social media praised her work. They said she was one of a kind, a hard worker, a woman who knew her purpose in this life, and that was to give their children hope. A lot of people also say she gave them hope too. She helped them through school. She helped them become better people in their communities today. One mom says Principal Tabu was the best isiXhosa teacher in the whole of Tembisa. Another parent say Principal Tabu made school fun. She made the children want to wake up every morning and go to school. She was someone who was humble. She took her time to be a parent more than a teacher. Another parent say when she was supposed to register her child in January, she was panicking because her child had been placed at Inxiweni and it was too far from home. There was no way she could afford to bring her child to school every single day. She says she was so stressed and she didn't know what to do. She says Principal Tabu held her hand, she guided her and made sure that she gives her directions to get to the Department of Education's head offices and helped her solve the matter and get another school near to her home for her child. She says this meant so much for her. She said, what a humble woman. Nobantu works very closely with Principal Tabu. They have turned the school around. She helps organize things like this Teacher School Race Fun Day. She also helped organize and get the children at the school to this choir competition. The two women worked with so much love and they put so much time into their work. On Tuesday, they stayed longer at the school. This was to help with last-minute preparations for a meeting which was scheduled to take place later on in the week. On that day, the corridors of Inxiweni Primary School should have been calm, like they always are. They should have been filled only with the sounds of cleaners finishing up and teachers preparing for the next day. Instead, at 4:15, the administration block became the scene of a brutal and calculated double murder. It was on Tuesday, 18 November 2025. According to the Gauteng Department of Education, Principal Tabu and Nobantu were busy tying up end-of-day tasks. Several colleagues were working in a nearby office when they suddenly heard gunfire. They took cover instantly because in that moment, nobody knew whether the shooters were still inside the school or moving through the building. Only minutes later, when the gunfire had stopped and the silence returned, staff cautiously stepped out and found both women lying in the passage in the admin block. Emergency services were called in immediately, but paramedics declared both Principal Tabu and Nobantu dead on the scene.
Department, we can confirm that there's a sad incident that occurred in the school around 5 o'clock in the evening, where we don't know who might have been responsible for this, but according to information at our disposal, is that the colleagues that were with the deceased, they were in this staff room or in the admin block where they were preparing. They have a meeting that they were preparing for, and while they were in the admin, all of them, they overheard gunshots, and when they two of the colleagues were then shot.
Police say masked gunmen entered the administration block after school hours. There were no warning signs, no confrontation, no chance for the victims to escape. It appears that the attack was targeted and intentional. The gunmen reportedly fled the scene quickly, leaving behind no immediate trace of their identities or motive. By the time the officers arrived, the suspects were long gone. The office area was immediately cordoned off as forensic teams collected evidence and detectives started reconstructing the sequence of events. The bodies of Principal Tabu and Nobantu were only removed from the school much later on in the day. This as officials had to wait for their families to come and identify them. Imagine your mother left home in the morning for work, at school, and then you get a call while you were at work to come at school to identify her body. At that time, learners who lived nearby or around the school heard of the news and they started to come at the school. They all arrived. But how do you explain to school children that they will never see their school principal again because someone took their lives at school? And then you expect the same children to go to school the next day? The most pressing question remained. Why would anyone carry out an execution-style killing inside a school? The news spread fast. Within hours, Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lusufi and Education MEC Matume Chilwane arrived at the school. Officials walked through the admin block, assessing the scene and meeting shocked staff members.
No, it's quite a somber. Situation. You can understand that it's a principal that was shot, and the administrator. So it's two employees. I mean, you can imagine the trauma and the stress that employees, as they come in, some were not even at the school. They had to come, check on what transpired.
These were not just employees, they were colleagues, they were friends, and in many cases, long-time members of a tightly knit school community. The next day, district officials and specialized counseling teams were deployed, this to offer psychological support. Schools are meant to be safe spaces, not crime scenes. At this stage, this is what we know because investigators have confirmed that the attack happened after hours, around 4:15 to 5. Two masked men entered the admin block. Both women sustained multiple gunshot injuries. The motive is still unknown. No arrests have been made, and police are appealing for anyone with information to please come forward. But here's what makes this case especially unsettling. There is no sign of forced entry, there is no mention of theft or robbery, and the attack was carried out with precision. And at this point, it is not clear if the security at the school was equipped to handle any of this type of situations. Many in the community are now asking, was Principal Tabu and Nobantu specifically targeted? Was this connected to school operations or something outside the school environment? How did the shooters know they would find them there? Why carry out this attack inside a school, a place where children should always feel protected? Until the investigation progresses, these remain open questions. As police continue their investigation, they're urging anyone with information to come forward. 2 families have lost pillars of strength. A school has lost leaders. A community has lost women who shaped the futures of hundreds of learners. This case is more than a double murder. It is a wake-up call because when violence enters a school, it tears the heart of an entire community. Please leave hearts in the comment sections for Principal Tabu and Nobantu Njombini.